his first career game against the Packers, Rodgers had a solid performance, but was out-dueled by Jordan Love. He went 29 for 37, including 20 straight completions at one point with 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. He became the 4th different quarterback in Packers history to complete 75% of passes with 350 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game, and the first since Rodgers did it himself in 2019. Marcus, what was different in the second half for Green Bay?
Well, first of all, Pittsburgh, newsflash. Tucker Kraft plays for the Green Bay Packers. That's number one. In case y'all didn't realize that yesterday, I'm going to tell you today in case at some point in the
maybe
near
they know
future
Jamar
years,
Chase and T. Higgins play for the Bengals.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Listen, the explosive plays for Green Bay in the second half were phenomenal. And I think the one-on-one matchups that Jordan Love was able to find, you saw guys using their body. You saw the big catch by Christian Watson down the field. It was a lot of just winning going on. And the ease in which Jordan Love played the game, the protection was there. He was comfortable in the pocket. They were super explosive. They figured out that they were going to attack these matchups when they were in man-to-man in the second half. And everybody talks about the second half adjustment. The second half adjustment was, we're going to see if these corners and these linebackers and safeties can cover. And they exploited it, and I thought it was a phenomenal job by Jordan Love allowing his guys to make plays down the field.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft has become a top 3 tight end in the league. And the way that Matt LaFleur uses him, it's very similar to the way that Kyle Shanahan uses George Kittle, or used to use George Kittle early on in San Francisco. Motion him over down in the red zone, 4x1 RPO. And this is just a simple read for the quarterback, that backside tight end. They get pressure front side with that ball fake. Kick the ball. Pittsburgh never adjusts number-wise. You're just throwing this ball to the flat. Now you've got him out in space. No one's even remotely close to him. That's almost a walk-in touchdown outside of those last final 6 or 7 yards. This is the play that everyone talked about last night. Motion him outside in. He's covered by safety. We as an offense know it's man-to-man. He's got a corner route. Mentioned it before. Great job by Jordan hanging in there. I love the fact that when the ball goes up, Tucker Kraft immediately puts his eyes high to go and track and find the football. That's an incredible adjustment. And then the yards after the catch, I didn't know he had this in his game. Just an unbelievable job of strength. 4th and 1. He's on the inside part of the bunch. There's that 4x1. If you're not using it in the NFL, you're behind the times. I love the hesitation. The down block by those 2 outside guys. This is a huge play in this football game. Kick it to him in the flat. This reminds me so much of George Kittle. Reminds me of how Owen Daniels used to be used under Kyle Shanahan back in the Houston Texans days. And then the motion again across its man. Tucker Kraft up top, inside. Watch his release. Okay, when he releases and those backers pressure, that defender is going to widen. This is an outstanding job of pinning that defender on the outside of that receiver, the vacated space in the middle of the field, and Jordan Love finds him. The utilization of Tucker Kraft has gone and surged ahead, and he's become one of the best tight ends in football.
MK, I thought we was finna watch the whole damn game. How many plays you see?
Hey, well, y'all two would like that.
There's a lot of highlights.
You're talking about time?
How many plays did you
You're talking about time?
We just watched, we watched Tucker Kraft highlight film.
Hey, but by the way, that shows you just how good
He had a lot of highlights, to be fair. He had a lot of highlights in this game.
Go ahead, RC.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I know, but
Like, when did
The defense is going to make you.
when did the Pittsburgh Steelers defense become the patsy or the fish? When did teams start circling their schedule and being like, hey, man, we may be struggling against this defense and this defense, but look, this week we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game was about closing, and Marcus talked about all the time the Green Bay Packers won. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers were losing all the one-on-one matchups, all the bust in coverage. And Terrell Austin is in this position where even though you have one of the highest paid players in the league, and T.J. Watt and a future Hall of Famer, they aren't creating pressure without adding people to the rush. And so now you're putting the back end at a disadvantage. And think about saying this 3-4 years ago. A defense with T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slade, Joey Porter Jr. gave up 20 straight completions. There has been no answer for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the last 2 weeks against the run game, and then we watched Emmanuel Wilson be able to salt this game away in the 4-minute drill.
Yeah, and Jordan Love ripped up the blitz with ease. It feels a little crazy to say this after the Packers put up 35, but I still feel like it could have been better. I mean, if we were talking about this game after the first half, we're having an entirely different conversation. And I think all I want to say about Jordan Love was magnificent. I think Matt LaFleur, who's an amazing play caller, does need to ease up a little bit on the governor. I mean, right now on early downs, Jordan Love is 29th in average depth of target. In this game, on first and second down, he had an average depth of target of 3.5 yards. And to me, some of that is LaFleur having a little bit of concern about the offensive line from earlier in the season, maybe a little bit too much faith, candidly, in the run game. Jordan Love to that intermediate part of the field, that's where this offense should live. And they have great yards after the catch players.
Maybe Watson coming back will help that too.
I think it will, and it clearly made a difference already in this game. He looked fantastic. But I think just moving forward against better defenses, better teams, you can't give them a half the way Green Bay did.
I've heard that chant for 18 years, so Packer fans travel really well. First time in a while I'd use silent count for a home game. That's a credit to those Packer fans.
He knows it well. And by the way, he said he has all the respect in the world for a lot of the people there in Green Bay. But another bad game for Rodgers against a good team. He falls to 1-2 on the year against teams that are 500 or better. His QBR, 21 points lower compared to games against teams under 500 this year. He's averaged almost 2 more yards per attempt against losing teams. So some of that has to do with the fact about who's on the other side, like, Micah Parsons. Oh, they got the sound going for us here as we welcome you in. We got Marcus Spears. Turn up that IFB, my friend. Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Peter Schrager, Dan Orlovsky. The cheerleaders have hit the field, and that means we're getting closer to kickoff.
What's the techno guy last week? Techno?
Oh, yeah. He did a great halftime performance, by the way, the creator of techno. All right, RC, why wasn't that Steelers offense clicking yesterday?
Well, the one thing about the Steelers offense is they have no one that can naturally create explosive plays outside of DK Metcalf. You even go early in that game, the big throw to Roman Wilson. It was a scramble by Aaron Rodgers to get outside the pocket. And so when they don't connect on one-on-ones like we saw with Valentine in the end zone, it gives you difficulties if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers with opportunities to get chunk plays. And teams in this league are too good to think that you can nickel and dime them completely down the field. And so begin to create explosives in the second half, the Pittsburgh Steelers could no longer keep up.
And RC, think about the team that you don't want to have to create explosive plays against, which is Green Bay with that pass rush. The pressure was prevalent last night as well. Micah Parsons' impact on the game. Rashawn Gary kind of becomes the forgotten guy who is wreaking havoc every single week. But I just love the way that they use Micah. At times you saw him lined up in the middle of the line of scrimmage, standing up, coming off the edge, 3 people trying to block him, 2 people trying to block him, and it all makes sense. It kind of goes back to what I said about Denver. They're running games, using him to create opportunities for other guys. And when a 4-man rush can be paired with an offense with the potential to be as explosive as Green Bay is, you got a recipe for a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs. Adding number 1 in that trade may be the difference in Green Bay playing in the Super Bowl.
I think we all have been relatively encouraged by Pittsburgh's offense this year. Does last night give you hesitation, though? Because, like, last night what you saw was there's a very specific style and way that they have to play.
You got to win on first down or...
You have to be efficient. Like, if they can be efficient, they'll be fine. But what you saw last night was inefficiency on first down, somewhat inefficiency on second down, and then all of a sudden we're in these average distance of 2nd and 8, 3rd and almost 11. That's how you end up 1 for 10 on third down. And so I think as much as I've loved some of the things that Pittsburgh has done, last night gives me a little hesitation of like, all right, there's only one way. To RC, to your point, like there's only one way that they can play offense.
I'll tell you, I'm new to this show. You guys won the Emmy last year. I love the analysis. RC not missing a beat when there's an entire techno concert going on behind it. That is Emmy worthy, and I respect the focus you guys have. And to tie it all together, that was the focus that the Packers defense had. They're down. Okay, now it's my turn. They're down 19-14 in this game, and all of a sudden they found another gear. And to Marcus's point, Parsons is unblockable. There's 3 different guys on him at that one point where he gets to the quarterback. But it's all 3 levels. Edgar and Cooper, to me, he could be a defensive player of the year. He's that good. He's all over the field. And they parted ways with Jair Alexander. They made some decisions. Eric Stokes no longer there. Their defensive backfield was lights out yesterday. This defense is not going to get as much hype as maybe the offense when Jordan Love's completing the ball 20 times in a row. But gosh, are they good. And so is this music.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Peter, you didn't miss a beat. Good job. Slot right in. Yeah, go ahead.
Just about Micah. I feel like Micah in Dallas had more statistical output, but I feel like the impact is still as good, if not better, right now.
Yeah, you think about, first of all, he's lined up across from a guy that can flat out get it too, who's held in a high regard as a rusher. So you got to determine who you're going to slide to, protection. Those linebackers go. Between Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper, I think it's making life a lot easier for those guys up front.
Feels to me like he's coming in with a closer type impact too, like later in these games. I don't know if we would, the stats
and
back
they
that
rotate.
Up.
You can keep him fresh.
Yeah. Mina, on the Packers side though as well, Jordan Love came alive as Packers offense in the second half especially. Why was that?
Pretty good. Jordan Love was pretty good in this game. I want to focus on not Love, who was amazing, but Tucker Kraft. The Packers have something really interesting, which is their best weapon against man coverage is their tight end.
Sure.
In this game, 8 of his 9 catches, all against man coverage, every single one of those 134 yards. And you might be watching that and saying, well, that's the Steelers. They stink in man coverage, yet they seem to play a lot of it for some reason. But he has been the primary target getter, versus man coverage the entire season. And that's a nightmare for opposing defenses. He's too big for most linebackers. He is too fast. He's too powerful for most defensive backs. Very few defenses in the NFL have a DB or linebacker who's an answer for him in the passing game. And for me, for the Packers, that allows them to hunt mismatches based on their opponents in a way that's really unique.
And you think about last week, the 4th and 2 play, right? The sail route to Tucker Kraft. It's because they knew they had a winner. He was able to beat a safety. And I think when that is your outlet in those situations, it's a very comfortable place to be for Jordan Love.